On this AVNation special, Bradford Benn, Josh Srago, and Harry Meade join me from InfoComm 2017. This is Harry's annual swag report. This is where we look at the number of giveaways being given away at a trade show and how it relates to the health of the industry. It's also proof that I should never have these three people on at the same time again. So sit back, relax. There's some fun and some laughter. Enjoy this AVNation special swag report.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is an AVNation special. The InfoComm 2017 swag report. All right, next up, three of my favorite AVNation people.
You're just saying that so I won't take over immediately. So
Yes.
allow me to introduce my first guest to my right,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Tim Albright of AVNation.
This is hang on, stop. You're Bradford Benn.
I was
from
going
Harman by Samsung.
Yes, I was going to introduce my guest
Okay.
first. I think that's polite. So let me start over.
The AVNation takeover begins.
I'm hoping my guests. I'm hoping my guests brought me, a nice housewarming gift or something.
Continue with the introduction.
We'll get
To
to the
my left
housewarming.
is my net neutrality Wonder Twin Power Activate Foil for Logic, Mr. Josh Srago.
Hello.
And to my further left, sitting next to Josh, looking rather dapper in his plaid shirt with all of his swag from his swag hunt, laid out in front of him, is AV Grump himself, Mr. Harry Meade.
Yay.
Yes, yay.
All right, before we get started here, a couple of the last week, we on Twitter, if you follow us on Twitter, there was something about a hashtag called Buttercake.
Oh, I'm
Now,
tweeting it right now.
If you're not familiar with what Buttercake is, I'm not sure how it became a St. Louis thing, but it's called a gooey Buttercake. If you want my mom's recipe, send me an email at tim@avnation.tv.
Yes, that's right. Tim is asking you to email his mom.
No, me.
I need to set up an email. Tim's mom.
Oh, good
Tim's
Lord.
mom
at
avnation.tv.
So
I'll set that up tonight.
It is pound cake and a cream cheese mixture poured on top, and you bake it. It's a St. Louis thing. It's a fabulous cake, and I honestly haven't made it in years. Talking with Krista Bender from Pivot, who happened to be in St. Louis and Bradford, and Bradford's like, oh, you have to have this, but I can't have any. Bradford is saying this because, it's just not good for you. It's fattening.
I'm worried about your health.
You're always worried about your health.
Yes.
So what I did was I made a butter cake to bring to InfoComm to give to Mr. Bradford Benn. So that
Thank
is
you
your
very
butter
much,
cake.
Tim.
There you go.
I have snuck a piece ahead of time because I
Shame
didn't want
on
to
you.
get this. I didn't want to get the microphone
I appreciate
dirty.
that.
I'm just being nice to Mr. Drainer.
And
It was worth it. John Green is still dead to me, and I'm not sure Krista's going to get a piece.
John Green stole a piece yesterday. So
John Green
Advanced
stole
AV.
a piece, and I will tweet out to everyone that the war has been settled between the 4 vodkas, 2 gins, 2 baubles, and 1 scotch for Mr. O'Donnell, my henchman for life. War is now settled.
Good. Harry, I'm going to start with you because you've got all your stuff laid out, and it just a recap every year. Good Lord, what's been doing this 4 or 5 years now?
Yes, it is.
Harry goes around the show floor, and Harry was doing this beforehand, just for the record. He didn't start this for me. But it's something we called Swag Hunt, and just from a tertiary standpoint, we kind of softly equate the health of these swag, the health of how much stuff people are giving away, with the health of the industry. So, Mr.
Wait up, I do have to get, just so you know, Harry is so dedicated to this swag hunt.
Yes.
For our listeners and viewers, he went out and rented the chariot that you never got me.
He got a rascal.
So we could get through the booth
he got a
faster
rascal
because
scooter.
people get out of the way.
So, how was your swag kill this year?
In a word, crap.
Oh, wow.
I'll say we didn't bring any.
Well, there
Harmon
is a
did not.
pile of it in front
There
of
is
you.
a pile in front of you.
If anyone has seen past episodes, especially if you look back at Orlando
2 years ago?
2 years ago,
yeah.
I filled up 3/4 of this table
Yeah, it was quite a bit.
with bags of stuff, T-shirts and hats and all of those things. This is 3 days, and I had to supplement with some of Adrian's swag that he found from a couple of things.
You stole some of Adrian's swag?
No, borrowed.
I borrowed. I may return it.
May.
And apparently Dawn's friggin' tattoo sleeve.
You should wear that.
No, I'm good.
You should wear that.
How do you know he isn't already sleeved? Have you ever seen him in a short sleeve shirt?
No.
There you go. So, just in general, yeah, swag very thin on the ground.
Okay, so swag thin on the ground. Mr. Manufacturer,
Yes, sir.
why?
A few reasons is my belief. I'm not speaking officially for Harman
No,
or
sir.
Samsung. These are my personal opinions. One, it costs money for people to give out swag.
Explain that.
Well, so all these tchotchkes, gifts, etc., cost money. If I want to give you a US,
Well, I understand that, but you said it costs money for people to give out swag.
for companies to give out
okay.
swag. Sorry, and it used to be we would give out swag and get something in return. I know this is marketing 101. If I'm going to give Josh a USB thumb drive bottle opener, I want to at least find out from Josh his name, who he works for, how I can contact him later, all that stuff. And people are doing less and less of that. And if you ask someone for their information, you're not getting as much back. There were people who were just going around, and I'm not making any accusations. Hang on, I got to make sure. Harry specifically stated before I even said anything to him, make sure that you tell them to listen to the spiel. And people were just going, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. But there's also the other thing, which is to put on shows like this is expensive.
Yes.
So if all of a sudden you're adding, and like if a company buys swag, and you're attending a show with 40,000 people, even if you give away a $1 item, and you think you're going to cover half of the show, that's $20,000 plus the travel time plus all that. So it's
don't forget the fact that you have to ship it out here. Don't forget the fact that you have to deal with the payment for in-house of moving that box once it gets here. It's
the man hours to get it ready, whether it's a T-shirt or a USB drive. You still have
the
to
amount
lay
of
it
time,
out.
and then and then you have to make sure and then validate it and checking. I mean, it's a process to put these devices together and put these times and put that time to use.
And also, I will say that from our manufacturer side, what we do is we're using that money, much like Extron has reduced their trade show footprint, we're using some of those savings to allow me to go out to the field and see people. So instead of giving away 20 pieces of swag, I can go visit Josh at his day job and talk with him about, our business that's day to day, rather than giving away 20 balls that Harry's going to put on top of the table here. So it's kind of that trade-off of what is the best return on our investment.
Don't.
I'm not going to tell him what color they
If
are.
he gives me a straight line like that, I can't not do it.
I'm the host of this. You're allowed
Leave
to
the
do
balls
it.
off the table.
Thank
And
you,
I'm sorry that they're blue.
Josh. Wow.
And they light up. They light up. They light up if you bounce them.
Now, I would like to state for the record, this is Tim's worst idea ever, putting the three of us on together.
Absolutely.
It wasn't by design, I assure you, Josh.
Lowered expectations.
Josh, as a consultant,
Well, yes, Tim.
I am interested to know how you view swag. Would you rather get little tchotchkes, or would you rather get a tool like, say, a scale rule or something like that? What?
To that extent, a tool.
Yes.
We have here
Stop playing with my tool.
This is the extended version.
And thus we have a simple screwdriver, a small measuring bottle opener, like something that you can take with you, and is TSA safe.
Okay.
Which was
That's actually crucial because Josh and I were at a show in Chicago together.
Yes.
Almo's.
I was there.
Yeah, that's right, Almo's. And Milestone had a wonderful swag. It was a great tool, multi-use. Had a very large, sharp knife edge. I could not take that. It was not TSA approved. Let's just put it that way.
Yep.
I will say that we have changed when we were purchasing more swag for our home theater division. We made sure that the bottle openers were, the wine made sure they were TSA approved and put them in a plastic bag.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, but to go back to my original question before I was so rudely interrupted by Tim, does the swag you're given as a consultant actually impact you, make you call Tim more often, or call someone because you're using
you have
a
swag.
Crestron coffee mug?
I'm a bad example of this, and mostly it's because I just choose not to carry more crap in my pockets than I absolutely need. And we've reached the point now where, yeah, having a little tchotchke on my desk will sometimes be like, oh, hey, I needed that thing. I remember last year there was a product I saw introduced by a manufacturer that I would not have expected it to be introduced by. I went looking for that product, could not remember. I now have a little, reminder on my desk of those things, and it's one of those, like, if you can tie it to something of use at the show and of value, as opposed to, for me, a spinner does me no good. It doesn't remind me of anything.
So allow me to ask this question, and Mr. AV Swag Hunt, please feel free to interrupt, and same thing with you, Josh, Tim. Just stay here and enjoy the butter cake.
Yep.
But it's in front of you.
I know.
Don't stop him.
The Starin superhero AV selfie, was that better than swag because you come away with your picture as a superhero, as an action figure?
It was a very community-building product. From what I understand, it hit over 3.5 million impressions on social media.
Yep.
It's a very cool thing. A lot of people were having fun with it. Everyone, up to Dave Labuscus, up to the CEO of InfoComm, had their picture taken there. And that's a really cool way to build the community and brand that and bring something fun to it. So it's more of a memory and an experiential thing than taking a thing. Yeah, the picture, it's great, but it's on social media. You can download it later. You can do something with it.
So before Harry goes through his swag bucket, how would you rate that as your best swag? Or would you rate that your best swag and experience?
Starin in general had one of the best experiential / swag booths of the show. Okay. Not only did they have the fidget spinners that half a dozen other people had, that I was collecting for a friend of mine.
Don't forget Brock's son collects
friend
those.
Of mine.
That they had charging cables that are very useful, especially at the show. And just it was a good not team building, but community building type thing.
Yep.
And quit playing with my balls.
All right.
You got to watch the video of this, people. I'm going to post outtakes of it on the website so you can at least get the pictures of this, because I hate to say it, this is not going to do justice to radio. I apologize as a former radio person.
But keep in mind, if they watch the video, they have to look at us too.
I'll do a snippet that's a close-up on your hand.
There you go.
So get back to your original comment there, Harry.
So I like having. I have actually used swag. Another hashtag that I kind of invented was, yes, I use the swag. because I'll take pictures of myself wearing the T-shirts or using the charging cables or what have you, because something that's useful like that is good swag. Now, to me, as much as everybody wanted these
spinners,
effing fidget spinners, to me, that's bad swag because it's going to end up with the kids, and you're never going to see it again.
So I would actually disagree. I would disagree because I have stolen one or two of my children's spinners.
But also because I have no children that I know of, that to me is a drink coaster.
Ah, yes. All right, real quickly, Harry, what are you taking away from this year's InfoComm? Besides a bucket load of swag.
Stop making your phone make noise. What I'm taking away is the fact that a couple of years ago, everybody said, oh, we've got to have a huddle room system. Now everybody has a huddle room system. Oh, I want to be your single person to go to. Oh, here's your single person to go to. Nothing is... There wasn't a hell of a lot of new at this show. They're not showing anything that they're not. Everything has been evolutionary. There hasn't been a lot that anybody has said, oh my God, did you see?
Yeah.
I did not hear that once this time. Okay? I didn't hear that once this entire show. Oh my God, did you see X? Usually you get at least one of those.
Yeah.
There was nothing. Okay, so there's a lot of people actually that are kind of going, well, do we need to go to InfoComm every year? Because at this point, a lot of it's the same show as it was last year. It's just slightly shinier and slightly brighter and probably more expensive.
And I will say, this is a topic that Mr. Albright here, as my guest, has discussed with John Green, who is still dead to me from eating my butter cake, but he attended 1 year completely via social, not actually physically being here, and actually wrote a nice blog post about it that's on the website. So there is Harry is speaking some very valid points.
Josh, what are you taking away?
Soft Codex 1. You talk about the huddle room space. Everybody wants a huddle room solution. It's a USB interactive solution, and it's finding these USB interoperable, simply connect, plug and play. This is where people want to be, and it's what's interesting to me is certain manufacturers are not staying product agnostic, or trying not to stay product agnostic. It's very much, we're partnered with you and you and you and you. Well, what about these other 6? Well, it will work with those in this way.
But we
or
like
that
these
way.
over here.
But we're really big on pushing these, and you start to saw a lot. You saw a lot of that. I don't want to say it was a disappointing show, because it was a deliverable from a lot of manufacturers of things that they promised previously. So they said, we're going to deliver this, and they delivered it.
Some. However, some are on their second show of, yes, we're showing this product, but no, we're not ready to ship yet.
and we're running into that. There's a lot of, but what's more interesting is,
I was going to say, I'm bashing because they aren't here. Because like Extron did with their with their HD base T for a couple of years.
Well, but what's fascinating to me is this year has been a lot more whisper room, backroom chatter. Is what I've seen. Is
more than in years previous?
For me personally, yes.
Okay.
I'm not saying that that's always the case, but for me personally, it has been a lot more whisper room, backroom chatter of, oh, hey, we've got this thing and we kind of want to show it to you, but we don't want to talk about it publicly. So can you sign an NDA in the booth and go do this thing? Sure, I'll go help you out with that. We'll talk about that. We want to talk about this. And it's starting to get to the point where it's a lot more individual requests.
Do those help you as a consultant, as somebody who's designing systems that aren't going to go in for a year or 2 years or 3 years?
They're absolutely invaluable, because we're able to dictate the parameters of the things that we require in order to get there.
Okay.
And if we can get 70% of it, 80% of it, that really helps us push forward, and it allows us to plan. And that ability to plan is what helps us drive specs. It's what helps us push the innovation forward and do that. Now, again, and I've said this to you, I've said this to everyone at both of these tables, is I don't want to see it in a single article, but I'm gonna at least 4 times. It's another evolutionary, not revolutionary year. And we seem to keep taking these baby steps, and we aren't able to make that big leap. There has been a lot of good conversation with certain manufacturers about the recognition that we can't, if we're going to put an IT product out there, there has to be some form of security. So there are certain manufacturers that have recognized this and are taking steps forward to do something about it, and that is fantastic, because it feels like I'm no longer shouting into an abyss. But at the same time, there's still the little things that go with it, and it's still all the parts and pieces that aren't there, and all the people that aren't recognizing that, because they're rushing to get a Me Too product on a network and then go, oh, right, we have to lock that down, don't we?
So I do want to ask Tim,
Yes.
as my guest, because I'm getting the high sign
You are.
and I'm not going to follow it, but as the host of this segment, what do you take away from this InfoComm?
I agree with Josh. Soft codecs have won, and soft codecs are racing to the bottom. The only.
It's almost like they're all moving to Google Hangouts.
Well, here's the thing. There's a couple products that I was like, oh wow. There's one interview that I did this week that I said, holy crap, are you kidding me? And that was the fact that InFocus is releasing their own soft codec at $5 a month for 10 seats. $5 a month.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not an integrator and you don't have access to this, check out pricing for Zoom and check out pricing for the other soft codecs on the market. They're considerably more than that. So that's my biggest oh wow moment. There's gorgeous things. I went by and saw, Christie's Aptivision chipset was called. They're using their product is called Terra. That's gorgeous. There was an awesome booth. I went and saw some really great things and innovative things. But that right there, soft codecs are here.
So I want to share my takeaway. And once again, manufacturer, my personal opinion.
Yep.
The coolest demo I saw was one of the Find AVNation being on the Harman Videotron. or video display system. For those of you who haven't been, I know Tim's taking pictures of it, but we do a performance or integrated audio video network system.
With an incredible voiceover.
With an incredible voiceover that actually has amazed people enough that they're like, we need them to read some more. But I was actually more amazed by the willingness of Harman to embrace the Find AVNation game and that, because it wasn't my idea. It was actually my boss's idea. So that was a big takeaway of the manufacturers are starting to see the value of getting involved in social media more, such as Dawn getting a direct comment unbeknownst to me from Samsung. So after she's done recording, I'm going to take her down to the booth and give her a tour.
Excellent.
I took that away. The other thing I took away is I'm part of a big company that does lots of stuff, and I finally got to meet a lot of my coworkers.
Nice.
So I've been talking with Samsung. We've all heard those synergy words and the buzzwords. I actually see the synergy beyond the connected car because of the fact that Samsung has Prism View, which is the large format outdoor displays that are used in stadiums. Stadiums need sound systems. Stadiums need control systems. So that one point for all, I actually am starting to see it. And we're actually taking that approach with some key customers as test balloons where I'm leading as the Harman person, and Samsung is following my lead and is my support.
Awesome.
Well, and to your credit on that one, during the tour that I got of the Harman booth, that evolution was happening previous to the Samsung acquisition, but it hadn't been delivered until today. So we were seeing the SVSI and the Harman integration really reach that fully interoperable single box solution, which is great. But to the single throat to choke issue, I have a problem with that personally coming from the consultant community, because I don't necessarily want a single throat to choke. I want collaboration, and I want manufacturers and partners working with me and with each other, because that's going to drive things farther. Harman being a little bit unique in that realm, in that it is multiple companies under a grander umbrella, but a single name manufacturer trying to offer every solution makes things complicated if one parts of that fail, but I'm only allowed to use that one part if I can use this other part, and I don't want both.
Yep.
So
And
it gets
I
complicated.
do agree with that, and I think that would be a great topic for a blog post that you can find on our website at avnation.tv. That's
How do people find you, sir?
I'm doing the plug.
I
Hang on a
understand
second.
He's doing it at avnation.tv.
Yes.
But that's avnation.tv.
TV. Because the webmaster does an unbelievable job keeping it current.
He does.
So, Josh, when you're not writing about net neutrality and those great things, how can people find you?
Okay, well, when I'm not writing about it, I'm probably asleep or working. But actually, I did publish a new one on the FCC comments on my flight out here. So if anybody wants to see that, it's on my soundreason.org website. You can also find me on Twitter at JSRAGO, on LinkedIn, and you'll also find me at avnation.tv. Of course, avnation.tv.
And Mr. Meade, AV Grump himself. How can people find you and your lovely employer?
I got one thing that I'm going to plug a future blog post on.
Yes, please.
AV between the input and the display is dead. It just doesn't know it yet.
Ooh, I'm going to be interested in that. I will make sure to read that. Mr. Albright?
How do people find you, Harry, though?
I did ask him.
He didn't
I
say
haven't
it.
said that yet. At AV Grump.
This is why I do this, Bradford.
At AV Grump on Twitter, otherwise Harry Meade everywhere else, and you can find me and read about why I think that our industry, the middle of it, doesn't exist anymore. It just doesn't know it yet.
Well, Harry, I'm happy to give you back your blue ball.
Thank you.
And Mr.
It's
Albright,
nice and warm from you playing with it.
Yes.
I already know that you're going to say not to follow you, but at tdalbright.com.
Yep.
I know your email address is tim@avnation.tv.
Because you manage
That's
it.
avnation.tv.
I know that there's a form on there that people can contact you
Yes.
directly, and we can follow that if they don't remember it.
And his mom's email will be timsmom@avnation.tv.
And we're going to put links of all of this stuff in the show notes on the
thank goodness.
webpage. So, but how else can people contact you, and what do you? Where
That's
can they
pretty
find
much
you?
it. That's pretty much it.
So I want to thank Tim for letting me hijack his show, and of course Brian McKinney gets my pure sympathies for trying to be the producer to hold this segment that went over by 15 minutes on a 15-minute segment together. So my apologies, but not really, because you made the big mistake.
How do people find you?
Hang on. You made the big mistake of letting me and Josh and Harry the grumpiest man in AV be on a show together.
This is the angriest half an hour AVNation has ever seen.
We might have to cut this whole half hour
we're
out
going to.
and make it an AV week episode.
Oh.
People can find me.
We haven't signed off yet. Why are you telling us to go?
No, him. To tell
I gotta
people how the people
see
find
ya.
me. Good Lord.
You can find me either Bradford at avnation.tv. You can click the Blame Bradford button for if you find any problems. You can click that. It'll send me an email. You can find me at bradford.ben at harman.com. You can find my website at bradfordben.com. You can obviously email me at bradfordben.com. I'm also a ninja, so I have bradfordben.ninja. So you can, if you can't find me, my SEO is not working.
All right.